Wyoming Territory. Late winter, 1874 day. The wind screamed across the barren white land. Snowflakes danced like knives under a gray sky. Blood trailed over white drifts, painting a story of death. A figure staggered through the trees, wrapped in a torn Union coat, soaked in crimson. His face, masked by beard and blood, barely registered pain anymore. They hunted him for 3 days, through frozen canyons, over jagged ridges, all for what he knew, or who he used to be. His name was Elijah Grant, a former soldier turned trapper, and now a man marked to die. Behind him, dogs barked, men shouted, a gunshot rang. Elijah collapsed beside a tree, clutching his ribs, breath smoking in the frigid air. He reached for the blood-soaked satchel still strapped to his shoulder. Inside, something wrapped in oilskin, a map, a name, a reason he couldn't die yet. Then everything went black. Mountain cabin sunset. Eleanor Hart, 27, widow, lived alone at the edge of nowhere. Her cabin was weather-worn but stood strong, like her. After losing her husband to war and her child to fever, she'd come to trust silence, solitude, and the sharp edge of her axe. She heard a faint thud outside. Unlatching her door, she stepped into the freezing dusk. Elijah lay in the snow, half dead. She knelt beside him, eyes sharp beneath her wool-lined hood. "Eleanor, you're either unlucky or dangerous." She glanced down the trail. Nothing yet, but instinct screamed. Trouble followed men like this. Still, she dragged him inside. Cabin night. She stitched his wound by firelight. Hands steady, breath shallow. Some say angels come with halos, others with blood and bone. On the edge of dying, Elijah burned with fever. Mumbled names. Elijah mumbling. Jameson. The ridge. Fire. Don't let them take it. Eleanor wiped his brow. She should have left him to die. She knew it. But something in her, some stubborn ember, refused to let go. She fed the stove, lit another lantern, sat by him with her rifle close. Then she heard it. Outside, boots crunched snow. She stood, crossed to the door. Cabin porch, continuous. Eleanor stepped out, rifle in hand. A man approached through the half-light. Tall, lean, long duster flapping in the wind. A scar cut across his nose. Eyes like ice water. Walter Creed, bounty hunter. He smiled too easily. Creed. Evenin'. Lookin' for a fugitive. Fella shot 2 deputies in Casper. Might have come this way. You see anyone? Eleanor. Calm, cool. Just me and the wind. Creed studied her. A little too long. Creed. Well, wind lies sometimes. He tipped his hat and turned, but his boots didn't crunch far. Cabin dawn. A faint glow crept through frost-laced windows. Fire cracked softly. Elijah stirred, eyes fluttering open, his face pale, lips cracked. The ache returned first, then the smell, burning wood and hot stew. He tried to sit up, groaned, hand pressed to his ribs. Elijah. Where am I? Eleanor OS. Where you ain't dead. He turned. Eleanor Hart stood beside him, holding a tin mug of broth. No smile, no softness, just weary eyes and iron resolve. He took the mug with trembling hands, sniffed it, drank. Elijah, hoarse. They'll come. Eleanor. Already did. Elijah, shaking. They'll be back. She looked him dead in the eye. Eleanor. Then you best heal fast, mister. Woods near cabin day. Eleanor trudged through knee-deep snow, breath pluming. She knelt beside one of her snares. Empty. Again. Snow crunched behind her. She turned. From the treeline emerged a figure, tall, cloaked in wolf pelts. His face weathered, ageless, eyes deep as night. Tacoma, Shoshone, a ghost from another time. An old friend of Eleanor's late husband. He raised a hand in solemn greeting. Tacoma, quiet. Blood trail. Cabin not safe. Eleanor. I know. Tacoma stepped closer, gaze sharp. Tacoma, he carry burden? Eleanor, he carries something. I just don't know if it's worth dying for. Tacoma didn't answer. He didn't have to. Cabin night. Elijah sat on the cot, skin sallow, breath thin. He opened his weathered satchel. Eleanor stood across from him, arms folded. He unwrapped the oilskin bundle. Inside, a burned, tattered map, a few yellowing documents, and an old photograph. Men in mining gear. One circled in ink. Elijah, Jameson Mining Company. They found silver west of Casper. Cheap labor. No safety. When the workers tried to strike, he looked away, jaw tight. Elijah, Suantede. They brought in mercenaries. Set fire to the shaft with men still inside. Said it was an accident. He pulled back his shirt. Old scars. Bullet wounds. Elijah, Suantede. I was there. I survived. Barely. Took this before I ran. Names. Logs. Payroll ledgers. Enough to hang every man on the board. He held her gaze. Elijah, Suantede, if I live to hand it over. Eleanor stared, stone still. Eleanor, and you brought it here. Elijah, didn't know where else to go. A beat. Sometimes, fate ain't a path you choose. It chooses you. Ridge above cabin night. The wind howled. Walter Creed crouched behind a snowy boulder, spyglass in hand. Below, the cabin glowed faintly. Behind him, 3 armed men, grimy, hungry-eyed. One cleaned a knife. Another lit a cigar with shaking hands. Creed, they ain't moving tonight. He lowered the glass. Creed, Suantede, tomorrow, before dawn. We burn it if we have to. The others grinned like jackals. Cabin late night. The fire had burned low. Eleanor sat at the table, sharpening her old Henry rifle. Steel scraped slow against stone. Elijah lay silent, eyes half-lidded, watching her. The door creaked open at the back. Tacoma stepped in. Tacoma. Wind shifts. Smells the air. Smoke from the ridge. Elijah tried to rise. Grunted in pain. Eleanor stood, hand on his shoulder. Eleanor, you live. We fight. Elijah looked at her. 1,000 questions in his eyes. Finally one came out. Elijah, why are you helping me? A long pause. Eleanor quiet. Because I remember what it was like to scream and have no one here. She walked to the window, checked the edge of the trees. Behind her, Elijah watched the flames flicker. In a land where mercy dies with the frost, sometimes it returns in the shape of a widow and a wolf. Cabin perimeter, Piari dawn. Snow blanketed the trees in eerie stillness. Breath clung in the cold air like ghosts. Then, a flare streaked the sky, hissing red and cruel. Whistles followed. Then boots, crunching snow. Creed and his men encircled the cabin like wolves closing in. Cabin moments later. Eleanor crouched at the window, rifle steady, jaw clenched. Elijah sat against the wall, pain twisting his features as he loaded his 6-shot revolver with shaking hands. Outside, shadows crept in the blue gloom. Tacoma was already gone, melted into the trees. Creed, I got no quarrel with the lady. Give me the man, and we walk. Eleanor, flat. I got no quarrel shootin' cowards. A long beat. Then, gunfire erupted, splitting the dawn. Woods near the cabin, continuous. Tacoma moved between trees like smoke. His bow whispered, thump. One man fell. Another turned too late, thump. Silent death. Arrows in throats. Cabin, same time. Bullets ripped through wood walls. Splinters flew. Eleanor ducked. Returned fire through the broken window. Elijah, sweating, pale, dragged himself to another side window. He braced against the wall and fired. Once, a man outside screamed, dropping to his knees. Blood spread red across the snow. Creed, OS. Burn it down. EXT, cabin, continuous. Creed's men lit torches. Flames licked the porch, the shingles, the shutters. Inside, heat pressed against the walls. Cabin moments later. Smoke curled beneath the beams. Elijah coughed hard, pulling himself toward Eleanor. Elijah, they're a way out. Eleanor, tunnel. My husband dug it. For if the war ever followed him home. She kicked open a hatch beneath the rug. A narrow dirt shaft waited. Elijah, smiling faintly, tell your husband thanks. They crawled in, the fire roaring behind them. Back ridge, sunrise. Smoke rolled behind them. The cabin crackled, burning bright in the dawn light. They emerged beneath tangled roots behind a ridge, gasping, blinking in the rising sun. Then, Creed's voice rang out behind them. Creed, there. He followed alone, pistol drawn. Frozen river, final showdown. The river was glazed with ice. Trees stood bare like bones on either side. Elijah collapsed on the frozen surface, coughing blood. Eleanor turned, rifle up, blocking Creed's path. Creed, shoulda stayed hidden, girl. He aimed his revolver. A tense beat. Then, thwack. An arrow punched through Creed's hand. He screamed, dropped the gun. Tacoma stepped from the woods, bow still drawn. Creed backed away, bleeding, snarling. Clara, you okay? Elijah weakly, ask me again in spring. She smiled. Some battles ain't about revenge. They're about choosing to live. Small orange diamond epilogue. Some weeks later. Int. Federal Courthouse Day. Sunlight streamed through tall windows. Elijah, clean-shaven and upright, stood before a judge. He laid out the oilskin documents. Maps. Ledgers. Names. Officials took notes. Men in suits leaned forward, frowning. In the back row, Eleanor sat quiet, hands folded in her lap, eyes never leaving him. The truth came out, and for once the world listened. Hillside overlooking the cabin ruins, sunset. Snow melted now. Only blackened beams remained of the cabin. Elijah, Eleanor, and Tacoma stood together, the horizon glowing gold. Elijah, I ain't got much left. No home, no plan. Eleanor, soft. You got a name cleared, a life still ticking. Tacoma nodding. Spring coming. They stood in silence. The past burned behind them, but ahead, something else waited. Some folks find redemption in courts, others in kindness. If this story stirred something in you, if you believe courage can still spark from the ashes, hit that like button. Subscribe for more True Grit tales, and leave a comment. Would you have taken him in? Beat. Thanks for watching. See you on the next Ride West.